This is the T-top from my '74 Corvette, replacing the weather stripping on it. So far I have removed the weather stripping from this channel here. It doesn't appear like there's much glue on it. I was a little bit surprised at that. After looking at it, maybe glue isn't necessary at all, but I did buy some, so if I need it, I have it. There was very little, if any, on here to begin with. And the roughest part was getting the old rubber out from under the lips on this. Right now I'm using a pick to try and get it all out so that the new one will fit in there nice. The other thing, here's the new weather strip, and here are the lips that go in that channel. There aren't any pins like there are around the rest of the thing, and it looks like I might be missing one here on this. Unless a screw goes there, because there is a hole. But there are these plastic pins like the some of the upholstery and door panels and such are held on with similar pins. So we're going to have to pry those out. What I think will work for that is a tack puller. Probably what would be better, trying to get it in the picture there, probably what would be better would be an actual upholstery removal tool. I don't have one of those, so I'm going to give it a go with this because it's what I have. There's the piece of rubber that needs to be removed, and we'll see how this tack puller works on those. Well, it looks like what's happening is they're pulling out of the rubber. So I will have to grab those maybe with a pair of pliers and see if I can wrestle them out to get them out. I am not going to videotape this whole process because it looks like it is going to take a while, but I will come back when I've got it off and see where we go from there with the new one. It really does not look like these were glued in. It looks like they're only held in by those pins. It does look like they, over the years, stuck to the rubber has actually stuck to the top of the T-top. So I will let you know how long it takes me if I remember to get that off and cleaned up. Okay, it looks like maybe I've found a good way to get these out. Taking my tack puller, shoving it under the top of the pin, and then putting the screwdriver under it and prying up. Okay, this is real time, so you're seeing how hard it is. The previous one pulled right out. Let's try another one. Let's go under that, get the screwdriver under it. Nope, not going to work very well. The plastic is just bending. First one I did popped right out. Really worked well. And this one's coming. There it is. So, as you can see, it takes a little bit of work to get these. Yep, that one broke off. I guess the good news is that the piece that's under there can probably be just pushed right down through with one of these picks. And I didn't bring the straight one, the only one I thought I wouldn't need. Okay, there you go. The pick was able to push it through. And so far I've got 3 of them out, probably just a couple of minutes. So I'm going to proceed with the rest of them and I'll check back with you later. Okay, I'm proceeding along the middle section. It seems to be working fairly well to go behind the weather strip with the tack puller and get under the pins while the rubber is still attached. If you pull apart, pull on it a little bit, you can tell where they are, and you can proceed by doing it that way. It looks as though there may be just a wee bit of sealant. That one at a time. There may be just a wee bit of sealant right in this groove here. I'm not sure it's necessary because once you put that on with the clips and then squeeze it down with the hood clamps, it should form a good seal. I will check back later. One thing I've noticed here, it appears to be easier to get these clips out if you go in from the inside, if you will, and get underneath the clip that way instead of this way. This being the top of the T-top, this being the inside lip. It gives you something to pry against that's sturdy, and you can bear down on the clips that go through the fiberglass better with your tool. Oops, pulled that one too far and it came off. The rubber came off. So these are, that's pretty much it for that T-top. Now I did start, before I decided to video it, I started with the, what is that? That's the window side of the T-top. The seal that goes to the passenger or driver side window goes in there. I had that mostly out. That just required a little bit of scraping. I am going to try and do some research and see if you're really supposed to put some sealant or some glue on there, because, as I said, that peeled off pretty easily. I think it was just stuck on there from being squeezed against it for so many years. It's a 74, so 44 years almost. But I'll I'll try and see if glue is required. It may not be, or if it is, it's used very sparingly. Okay, so found out that adhesive is required, and I have 3M black weather strip adhesive. The instructions say clean surfaces to be bonded, apply a thin uniform coat of adhesive on each surface, allow adhesive to dry until tacky, assemble materials with sufficient pressure to ensure contact, and avoid putting adhesive on exposed painted surfaces. So what I am going to do, I found out that it's not recommended that you use a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the adhesive on the outside of these holes for the pins. I'll try not to glue the pins in, because if you ever have to replace them, that's going to be very difficult to do. So I'll put it on the outside of it. That's the weather side of it. Hopefully that will do it. They also recommended on that groove over there in this channel to not glue that down until the rest has set. You fit this top on the car and make sure that it's in the right place, then gently pry it up, put some adhesive on it, put it back down. There are channels there that look like they would hold it pretty well, so since the car doesn't really get out in the rain that much, if I glue the rest and I can wash the car without getting water inside there, then I'll probably just leave it off without the adhesive, because it does look like it's a good tight fit, and it would be on the upward side of it, so water would tend to fall away from it rather than go on it. So I am going to start this process, and I'll just video a little bit of it. I'm not going to video the whole thing, because that'll just be too boring. But I'll get it around the whole thing, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I'm just going to start to press some of these pins into the T-top. Where necessary, you might have to stretch it a little bit to get it to fit. Okay, as you can see, some of those are a little bit hard to get in, so while I'm finishing this up, I'm going to shut off the camera and go from there. So I've got most of it pushed under that rail. I'm just going to zoom in on it and show the last little bit of how I'm pushing that under there with a screwdriver. As you can see, that goes under there. That's in there tight. I really would be surprised if there would be any leakage out of here. There was so little of the material, of the glue in there on the original. It may have just been held in there or put in there to hold it in place for a little bit while they were handling it, but this thing looks like it's pretty good to me, and with a little extra coaxing down here at the end, it will all be in, and it'll be ready to go as soon as the glue dries. Okay, this is the second T-top I'm doing. Taking the weather stripping off and replacing it. This channel here where the strip for the window goes is the hardest part on the first one. You have to pry it out of there and it comes out in pieces. I'm going to put some gloves on so I don't stab myself. Once you can get down in behind there and grab those clips, you can pull them out relatively easily. Getting it started is the hard part. Definitely easier to go from the inside than it is from the outside, because you have something you can pry against and the clips pop out pretty easily. They may or may not stay in the rubber, but a little bit of work, they come out. Stuck to the stuck to the T-top with the glue that was installed with. Most of it has come off fairly easily. Glue is put on there sparingly. notice I'm doing this on a cardboard box. That's to save the paint on the top of the T-tops, even though this car needs painted. Try to keep it as nice as I can. I'm doing this while the camera's running the whole time so that I can show approximately how long it takes to do the whole job. There will be some scraping involved to get the rubber that's stuck to the T-top off. But it came off fairly easy on the first one. Hopefully I haven't moved out of the range of the camera, out of the frame. I'm not gonna leave the camera running while I'm scraping and removing the old pieces of rubber from the where it was stuck on with the glue. And the reason I'm not going to show that is because depending on what your goals for the car are, if you want a perfectly pristine car, it's going to take you longer. You're going to be more careful. Personally, on this car, this is my autocross. Occasionally, I plan on drag racing it, so I'm not looking for looks. It's not anywhere near stock, so I'm not doing a restoration, and that's everybody's decision, what they want out of their car. After all, it is theirs. So this one is glued in more solidly than the one on the other side. The other side, I didn't spend this much time taking this strip off that's above the window. Came out relatively easy. Biggest problem was pulling the pieces of glue and rubber out from underneath the channels on that piece. Like I said, everybody has different goals for their car. And, you know, if you want a show car, you're going to take more time to clean this up and make it pretty. If you want a fun car to drive, maybe the appearance doesn't have to be perfect to make you happy. So, most of this is out. Could find a putty knife that was narrow enough to fit in that channel. It would be nice to use that to scrape the residue and the pieces of rubber off. What I've been using is a flat-bladed screwdriver, and it took maybe 15 minutes to get the whole thing ready to where I was comfortable with putting the new piece in. But that'll give you an idea of how long it took to get the actual weather strip off. Now, from here on in, it's clean, and it's, like I said, depending on what you want out of your car. So I'm going to shut off the camera, and I'll be back when I've cleaned this up and I'm ready to glue it. One of the clips there didn't come out easily, so I'm going to try to attack it with a pair of channel locks. It's pretty much how I pull out staples or such that don't want to come out. There you go. Easy. And I can see that my battery on my camera is wearing down, so I'm going to have to go get the charging unit and plug it in. Okay, this is the back end near the window. This runs along the back of the body, up the middle of the T-top, the windshield. This is the side window. On the first one I didn't look at this real close, so I started on the corner up there by the front windshield pillar. And when I got to this back, I had a hard time getting the pins in here. So just to see whether it's easier or not, I'm going to start on this end and go around the other way and see how that works out. I'm going to put the adhesive in this channel here right now, and I'm going to shut the video off while I do that. No sense in wasting your time watching me do that. Okay, here we go. Starting at the back corner. See if those pins are any easier to push in. Not really. They're just tough to get in there regardless of which end you start on. I don't seem to go in with a resounding click like I'd like to hear. You just have to kind of test them, to pull on them to test them. Just see whether they're in or not. Those two on that end are just a bear no matter how you try to do it. I may have had that upside down. Okay, as you can see, they don't always go in easy, but I am going to shut off the video now while I fight with the rest of them. So there you have it, the T-tops are sitting on the car. Only time will tell whether they'll leak or not. I can't imagine them being any worse than they were when I started. Thanks for watching.